This story begins with mail day. Actually, it begins with a disclaimer. This is not sponsored content, so don't worry, y'all. Anyway, my P.O. box is situated in the fairy realm, so I made my way there to grab some supplies Paul Rubens sent to me. I made sure there was nothing else in my mailbox before heading off to paint. Welcome to my gingham picnic blanket. I was so excited to receive these watercolor sets, one regular and one pearlescent, both with 24 colors, as well as a watercolor sketchbook. Look how clean everything looks. And remember that because I'm about to wreak havoc on these pans. Did you guys see how the tins are pink? And like the boxes too. I love pink so much. The packaging is so cute and the sets were even swaddled in a little pink cloth. Anyway, I hadn't used watercolors in quite a long time, so I was super excited to start painting. Before that though, I decided to whip up some fashion croquis for a quick warm-up. My inspiration for these came from a Japanese wind chime. In Japanese, they're called Edo furin, or just furin. Fu being wind and rin being bell. They're these beautiful blown glass shapes with a paper strip that extends from the inside on a string. I was really inspired by the shape of them because, don't you just want to hold one in your hands? Like a round boy? Anyway, they are also very indicative of summer and blue skies and eating watermelon with the fan on, which are just nice things that go unappreciated sometimes. Also, when I told my mom about this brand, when they reached out to me, she was like, the drag queen? And I was like, the what now? And I was like, wait, RuPaul? I was like, that's like a different thing. So no, RuPaul didn't come out with watercolors, but I'll be sure to let you know if he does. Structure-wise, you can see the exaggerated sleeve shape that's reminiscent of the body of the wind chime, while the long skirts, or in the case of the third outfit, the pants, are inspired by the paper strip. I also incorporated some traditional Japanese clothing elements into a few of the designs, while trying to provide a more distinct shape story to the outfit as a whole. By the way, any of the materials I'm using here can be found in my materials video. Besides the watercolors, because those just came in to my mushroom mailbox that totally exists. After lining, I started painting. Because I knew I'd be using watercolor, a watery liquidy medium, I knew I could replicate the idea of the colorful translucency of the glass bulbs within the sheer fabric of the outfits. I honestly just wanted to try the paints already, but I did my homework, which boils down to watching all the Paul Rubens review videos that have been made on YouTube, and y'all are really swatching each color before starting, and somehow I felt I should do that too. So instead I swatched each color as I used them, which kind of defeats the purpose, but let's move on. These watercolors are really nice to use. I'd say they're extremely comparable to the Sakura Koi watercolor set I have currently been using in terms of the colors. I recognized a lot of the shades that I had become familiar with, so like my homies, leaf green and violet. But in a few videos I saw some artists being a bit miffed about one of the colors being more granulated. Personally, I have no problem with that. A quick side note about this brand, Paul Rubens, not RuPaul, from what I can see is manufactured in China. Their distribution is through Lightwish on Amazon. I haven't really spoken about this, but I don't support Amazon due to ethical reasons and haven't purchased anything from the site for a few years. However, I believe for certain items, such as specific parts like for your computer, or in this case, art supplies you wouldn't be able to get otherwise, that Amazon is the only option for that. Just a little interjection about shopping mindfully and noting where your money is going. It was honestly such a shock to me when brands started reaching out to me, and I did want to take this opportunity to make a fun video with some cool new supplies, but rest assured I'm giving my whole honest opinions on everything. This watercolor sketchbook held these paints really well. Granted, I was using light washes, but there was actually no buckling at all in the paper and no bleeding through on the other side. The surface is smooth, likely meaning it's hot press watercolor paper. I really enjoy the lay flat design on the book itself and the incorporation of the perforated edges for tearing out pages. I'm really excited to do more fashion drawings in this sketchbook, and it's a small enough size to carry around, which is definitely a plus. Here, I'm just adding a light wash of the metallic / pearlescent watercolors on top just to see what they were like, but more on that later. I'm glad I got to play with these watercolors in a casual way first to get to know them a little, because now we are going to jump into the main event. Rubens also sent me some gold foil washi tapes that are meant to be used while painting, I believe. They were a bit hard to tear off the roll actually, but maybe that's because I suck. Or maybe the tape melted a little because I live in triple-digit Fahrenheit weather. Also, they sent me a pack of 3 banana sponges meant for like blending pencil sketches, which made me laugh so hard. I don't know why like the banana shape was so funny to me. Anyway, I wanted to showcase 2 of my favorite outfit designs from the sketches I did earlier in like a crazy show-stopping way, so I drafted up a sketch of these 2 sapphic ladies because who doesn't love some fruity subtext? I called this piece Point of View. You're interrupting these beautiful ladies having a chat and now they're looking at you with unreadable expressions. But back to talking about the piece itself. I'm using Arch's hot pressed watercolor paper, which is textured and delicious. I found this paper holds multiple washes extremely well. I used an abundance of layers, as you will see, and was really impressed by it. The Paul Rubens watercolors themselves were very smooth and blended super nicely. They are really buildable as well, which meant I could achieve a lot of dimension in the clothing folds and shadows on the bodies. The pigmentation on these was great also. This video is edited with like boosted saturation, but the paints are actually pretty saturated in person as well. I found that the pearlescent paints were harder to activate, but really packed a punch in terms of like sparkliness. The pearlescent watercolor set is more translucent, I would say, than the pigmentation of the regular colors, which is definitely to be expected, so I didn't mind that as much. I love layering them over an existing color for some glittery realness. Fun fact, I noticed there are 2 colors here that are duochrome and the glitter shifts from 2 different colors. I don't know how significant that is actually, but I was extremely excited, so that's all that on that. I'm sure you guys can tell my methods for watercolor here. I'm working from light washes to midtones and then really packing in the dark shadows. It does take a bit of patience because you need to make sure the colors are dry first before adding another. Luckily, the Arches paper did me a solid and absorbed the paint really quickly, as it should, because it broke the bank, and because it was so expensive, I was scared to use them until now, and I've had this paper set for like 2 years. I wanted to take a watercolor or acrylic painting class actually at my university, but they denied me because they wanted me to take beginning drawing first. But y'all, no, I don't want to take beginning drawing again. Like, no more drawing fruits on the tablecloth, no more like charcoal shading. Anyway, my point being that any like skills or techniques I picked up in watercolor are just from YouTube and experimentation. So if you want to start painting, this is your sign. Definitely start painting if you want. I honestly forgot how fun watercolor was, and now I just want to paint all day, which is very cool. 10 out of 10. Actually, this painting definitely took a bit of planning beforehand. I had an idea of the composition I wanted to do with 2 characters and wanted to pose the characters in a way that showcased the clothes in a unique fashion. So I drafted up a preliminary sketch on Procreate and blocked in the sections of color that were most important, just to make sure they were cohesive. And then in the painting, I freaking messed it up and switched the teal and orange. So like, it'd be like that, I guess. Anyway, here's my recent media recommendation segment, which I've decided to include in my videos because I love sharing opinions. So I listened to the audiobook Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng while painting. So if you guys need a book recommendation, there's one for you. I find that Ng's writing is so complex and picks up on the minute details of life that make the story really believable. Super immersive storyline, and the characters are so well written. I also recommend the audiobook version just because the narrator has the nicest voice. So second recommendation is the film Summerland, which is just so touching. It made me cry, and then it made me sob, and then it made me contemplate and lay in my bed thinking about the characters and the plot. I love the cinematography too, especially how the film showcased the characters interacting within the environment and with little items in their life. So there's my little segment on that. Welcome to the end of the video. The finished piece is here. I'm so proud of this. I spent hours just painting away, and it's been a hot minute since I've done a completed painting like this. Usually I just dink around in my sketchbook all day. Here's some extremely shaky glitter footage because I wanted to show you guys how shiny and yeehaw this looks in the light, but I couldn't do that without moving the paper, and I only have two hands because my parents were like watching the Olympics and then my dog was being a menace. Okay, you'll see footage of my dog Pom Pom being said menace in a second, but thank you so much for watching and supporting me. I start school in like 2 weeks, so expect a university vlog in a subscription box near you. P.S. If you want to like this video, that would be great. If you want to thumbs down, if you could please refrain. Thank you. Bye. Mom. Bro, stop it. Go. Shoo.